What's going on, guys? Blake Tucker Fishing here today. We're going to do a top 5 lure video today for fishing the fall. We're going to exclude any type of live bait. I know some guys that fish with red worms for crappie, obviously minnows, things like that. Some people might not have the opportunity to go get live bait, or they don't like using live bait. So here is my top 5 list for baits that you should be throwing in the fall. We're going to get started with it. Bait number 1 is going to be any type of shad style baits. Okay? This is a Bobby Garland baby shad. They make them in all different types of colors. I got some here. They got the Muglo, the what is this? The Blue Ghost? Yeah, Blue Ghost. Okay. They got this one here, which is Blue Thunder, and they just got, let's see, Pearl White. Okay. My personal favorite color for these baits, I like the Bobby Garland products. I think they're great baits. I think they last a long time on the hook. The Crappie Max lures that you can get from Bass Pro Shops, that's also a good bait too. That, it's pretty much the same thing as this. My personal favorite color is going to be monkey milk all year long. But we're talking about fall. Any type of shad pattern bait, okay? That's going to be bait number 1. Bait number 2, it's been around forever. It's easy to use. You can find them pretty much anywhere, okay? And that's going to be any type of curly tail grub. So right here I got the Mr. Crappie Wally Marshall Strike King. This is the electric chicken color. It's a good bait. It's a good bait. Here's another color that's great. Is a tricolored jig, or grub, I should say. I believe this is made by a company called Cream. You can get them at Walmart for like, what, 98 cents a pack. They're great. They're great. I would say, as far as durability, these are better than the Mr. Crappie. The Mr. Crappie baits, though, they got so many different colors. And if you crappie fish, you can never run out of colors, man. You can never run out of colors. And even if you do, if you stick with these colors, you're still going to want to try more. That's just the way it goes. But there's one more look right there, okay? Curly tail grubs. My third bait is going to be any type of swim bait, small little swim baits, okay? This one is just straight chartreuse, Northern Lights plastics, okay? When I fish these, I mean, you pretty much use the same approach as you would be doing like a curly tail grub. Swimming it back, little pause here and there, letting it dive down, this, that, and third. You can also tip these with minnows. You can tip all these baits with minnows. If you're spider rigging, if you're vertical jigging, or if you're casting out, if you're trolling, whatever you're doing, you can tip all these with minnows. Here's another example of this. This is going to be a Mr. Crappie, okay? What is this? The Crappie Kicker. I believe this color is called Popsicle. I'm not really sure, okay? But it's almost identical to like the Bobby Garland baby shads. And the reason why I say that is because you cannot get that tail to stop moving. Okay? Here's another example of that. It's going to be a Charlie Brewer Crappie Slider, I believe they're called. Great baits. Great baits. I will say, sometimes these are better to throw than it would be to throw something like this or something like this, because it's real narrow. People want to talk all the time about how many colors you're supposed to have when you're crappie fishing. I say you need colors and you need different sizes. Not necessarily the length, but how big around it is. Okay? There again, you can't get that tail to stop moving. Great bait for spider rigging, great bait for brush piles, great bait for, laydowns, weeds, anything, okay? And here's another color of the Crappie Kicker by Mr. Crappie, okay? I don't know the exact color of this. It's black and chartreuse, and it's got a little bit of red and silver fleck in there. So, here's another look at it. All right, bait number 4. I'm going to be throwing this when the crappies are really active. I say, in my opinion, for where I fish, the best time to throw this in the fall is definitely going to be November. Always. Little crankbaits, okay? Both of these crankbaits dive from 1 to 3 foot, okay? The best line size I'm going to tell you that you probably should use is going to be 4-pound test. I use 4-pound test for everything. I use 4-pound test for when I'm spider rigging. I use 4-pound test for when I'm casting, in structure, pitching docks. I'm going to be using 4-pound test. Occasionally, if the bite is really, really tough, okay, I'll go down to 2-pound test line. And I'm going to be throwing itty bitty jig heads with itty bitty jigs. And sometimes it'll get the job done. But small crankbaits, if you get the crappies stacked up on any type of structure and they're really active, pretty much any time of the year, but for me it really shines in the fall, throw a crankbait. You don't have to throw crankbaits that's got 2 treble hooks on it. You can throw like them tiny little crankbaits that's got 1 treble hook on it. Strike King makes them what they call bitsy minnows. Those are good baits. I feel like sometimes bitsy minnow doesn't really have a lot of action, which sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes you do, though. I feel like it just kind of goes through the water. Now these baits, okay, these baits have a lot of action. We'll leave that there so y'all can see the name of the lures, okay? But there's number 4, crankbaits. Number 5 is definitely not least, I can tell you that. That's going to be any type of blade bait. That's going to be rooster tails. It's going to be micro spinner baits, spinny minis from Southern Crappie Rods. My personal favorite is going to be the beetle spin. Okay, this is a 1/16 of an ounce beetle spin. They make them in all different types of colors, all different types of sizes. I like to use the 1/32 ounce. I like to use the 1/16 of an ounce, and sometimes I like to go all the way up to 1/8 of an ounce. Just depends on where the crappie are, depends on how thick the structure is. You can really throw these in brush piles and have good luck with it. I hardly ever get hung up on these things because that wire right there really goes over the hook, and it does good. I will tell you, if that color that you picked up is not working out, you can buy these things dirt cheap. So you can buy you a handful of different colors and try them out. But I will say sometimes take that grub off, okay? Take it off and replace it with something like this, okay? Curly tail grubs or shad pattern baits. It makes a difference sometimes. Now, depending on the size of the beetle spin that you're throwing will dictate what size of plastic that you can put on there. I will say sticking with something about like that, okay, it's deadly. It's deadly. It's same thing with the crankbaits. If you get them to where they're really stacked up on some brush, or if they're just really, really active that day, throw a beetle spin. You can spider rig with these things. You can troll with them. You can cast. You can, dock shoot with them. You can do anything with these things. And they catch fish. They've caught me a lot of crappies over the years. And during the summertime, if you just want to go out and fish, you know, a creek, a small pond, even if you're at the lake, bluegills will tear these things up. And you don't have to have red worms or leeches or anything like that. Now, some other good baits that I don't have here that really aren't in my top 5, and the reason that they're not in my top 5 is because you can't find them everywhere. Some places have them, some places don't. These baits here, you can go to your local Walmart, Academy, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, and you can pick up all those baits. Now, this, I guess what it will be, number 6. It's not on the list, but we can kind of put it on the list. And that's going to be the Berkley Gulp Alive minnows. Sometimes, I mean, let's just face it. Minnows, live bait, you're not going to beat it. You might get close, but you're just not going to beat it. The Berkley Gulp, it's a great bait. Great bait, hands down. But you can't find them everywhere. Sometimes you can find them in the packs like this, which I don't really like. I'd rather have them in the big jug. But the downfall to them is you're only going to catch about 2 fish off of them before they start falling off the hook. And then you're going to have to get you another one. But that is a good bait. But, alright guys, I think that's going to conclude today's video. If you like what you see, think about subscribing. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And we'll see you on the next one. God bless.